This show is sponsored in part by Miss Meow Clothing, offering quality custom clothing for the entire family. Coming soon. Brought to you by Miss Cat. Welcome to the Golden Square Podcast with your hosts, Linda Scott and Sharilyn Fisher. Are you ready? Because we're starting right now, only on Stunner Radio, the heart and soul of the culture.
Hey, good evening.
Hey, how are you today?
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Golden Square with my host, a co-host, Sharilyn Fisher and Linda Scott. Myself, we are so excited about today's show. So, do we want to get right into it?
Let's get right into it.
But we do have a guest coming on as well.
My little sister, Regina Woodfuck-Pierre.
Okay, so we're going to bring Regina on, and we're going to talk about co-parenting. Hey, Regina.
Hey, Jen.
Hi.
How are you
guys.
tonight?
How are you?
We're good. We're good. So, are you ready for tonight?
I'm a little nervous, but I'm ready.
Oh, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Just me and Sharilyn.
Well, that's what I'm nervous about.
Okay, so we'll be good. We'll be good. So listen, everyone. Tonight is co-parenting. Right. And listen, this is Sharilyn and I opinion. These are our views, our experience. We don't claim to be experts, correct?
No,
we don't.
Not on that subject.
Not on that one, yeah. But however, Regina have experienced the same thing that we're talking about, and that thing is co-parenting. And what is co-parenting?
It means when two parents live in separate households, but they share in the decision making and the upkeep and the care of the child. Well, they put the child's needs and wants before their own. And they put the bitterness aside and all that aside for the better judgment of the kid.
You are so smart.
I know.
Hey, Miss Zoe, how are you today? Thanks for joining. She did that, girl. So y'all heard the definition of co-parenting from my friend, Sharilyn Fisher. She gave it to you exactly how it should be.
And I can speak on that because I experienced it. You know, I'll be 66 next month, y'all. But I have a 15-year-old daughter that my ex-husband and I adopted. And we haven't been together for a long time, probably since we adopted the baby. But we had that co-parenting down pat.
Right.
He had retired and I was still working. So he went to all the cheerleading things, and he would take her to cheerleading every day and sit out there in that hot sun, thank God for him. And he would go to all her games, and she's a singer, and she had a lot of singing engagements, and he made every rehearsal, every recital, every program she was on, and we just had it down pat. You do your share and I do mine.
So what was your share? Because you only told us about his share. Your share was to do what? Wake up in the morning and make sure she get what she need to go.
Mm-hmm. I bought her clothes. I made she look cute.
Okay, all right. So we just want to know what the co-parenting part is, and I
signed her up for all that stuff that he could take her to. Yeah.
All right. So, but that agreement came with
that agreement
the two.
Came right.
Okay. So great. So I believe in that as well, because I think in the beginning we started talking about some things, and I had the co-parenting, but my co-parenting was I was paying child support. But I still was co-parenting.
You still co-parenting.
I still was paying, child support, and I still was co-parenting, and to make sure that he had everything that he needed as well.
But the good part about Linda's situation, she was co-parenting, but Linda lived in Florida and Tim was in Texas. Right. But she never missed a beat, even if she made me go.
Okay, so it's not as mature as set aside. Okay, so thanks to whoever this is, I'm just going to say Mr. Facebook or Miss Facebook, but we have to get past the bitterness.
That bitterness, right.
And this doesn't happen. Fortunate for you, it happened whether y'all scheduled it, it was good. But we can't, Zoe, thank you.
Thank you, Zoe.
We can't look for this to happen 24 hours later after the two of you have went your separate ways. Am I correct, Regina, or do it happen right away?
I mean, I totally have different views.
Okay.
Because I was co-parenting with two different fathers. So that made it kind of difficult.
Right, I'm
Okay.
sure.
Not only was I co-parenting, I paid child support for one child and received it for another. So you have to, you can't just assume what's going on in somebody's household.
That's
Right,
so true.
right.
That's true.
Because you don't know. You just know
Right.
from the surface.
Right. But the bitterness, as the caller was speaking on, the bitterness doesn't help
the situation
right
one
at
way or
all.
another.
We have to at some point get over the bitterness. We have to know that it took both of us to conceive this child, and it should take both of us to raise this child. It can't be that I'm the mother and all I'm doing is talking negative because I'm still bitter with that in front of that child and about her father. So when we get past the bitterness, the maturity sinks in, then we're able to do this without any issues.
Regina, you look like you
Well,
at
come
the
on,
bit.
come
Come on with it, Regina.
Okay. But okay, as far as the bitterness is concerned, you have the parents have to stop bad mouthing each other
Exactly.
in front of the kids.
Right.
And not only bad mouthing each other or talking bad and ugly to each other, because the whole thing is to take care of these kids, no matter how many kids it is. The main thing is to be upfront with each other.
Right.
And not, not have secrets and try to work it out, try to communicate and work it out, each parent. So
that communication key that we always talk about, it goes with everything. It doesn't just stop with let me just go to the grocery store. Communication is the key. We have to learn how to speak to each other. And it's what I said and what you just said as well. We should not speak negative in front of our children, period. Now, with my with the oldest kids, my I didn't talk crazy in front of my children's dad. I mean, in front of my children about their dad. However, me and Sharilyn, we talked about him. Okay. But to this day, my son is like 40 plus years old, and he still never hear me say anything negative about his dad. And even when we get all of us get together, I might say something crazy. Come on, give me a hug, Ma. Don't hug him. I'm like, but that's your daddy. I don't care. So, they have their views already. So we can't instill all this negative stuff about that person, whether it's the mom or it's the dad. We have to learn how to get past. We got to learn how to get past the bitterness. We have to get past that. That bitterness is a beast. And it's because we broke. Yeah, it eats at you. We both are broken. We both are upset about you leaving me. I love you, whatever the case may be. But we have to take a deep breath. We have to know, okay, so this is over. And we have children. Now, both of us could still do some crazy things like, I'm not going to let you see the kid. I'm not going to do this. You can't do that.
I also went through that too.
Yeah. So, and we all have. That's why we can talk about this subject, because this is something that we have experienced, except me, because I want you to take your cheer. Go on, take your cheer. Go ahead. But
Regina, tell us a little bit about your experience of not being able to see your kid, or you stopping him from seeing his kid.
Well, I mean, it started off okay, because as you know, Sharilyn, I'm not the lady that can be controlled.
Oh, yes.
And I do not allow men to control me, even when I had their kids. And that was the main thing. They couldn't tell me what to do. So they wanted me to do exactly what they wanted me to do. So I said, okay, let's fix this. One of them told me, I want to get custody of my child. I said, okay. If that's what you want, you sure you want this responsibility of being a single parent? Yeah, I want my child. I said, okay. So we set it up. And when it was my weekend, I went to go get my son. When it was his weekend, we did pretty good on that part. But when we saw each other out in the club, that's when the problem started. Why are you out here? Why are you not at home?
Wow. So
I mean, you can't control me and be a parent too.
Yeah.
Where I have to find and it got to the point where he wanted me to find his babysitter. Or, he wanted me to be the babysitter for him. No, that's not how it works. This child lives in your household. I pay child support for this child. You figure it out.
Right.
And we had a hard time with that because the shoe was on the other foot.
Right, right. But sometimes, a lot of time men can't handle that shoe being on the other foot.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes just people in general can't handle that shoe being on the other foot. We do go into that controlling mode. Right. That why you out? Who has my children? Are you really concerned? Why don't you just get them for the evening? I can call them, have them meet you outside. So back up, like you saying, you can't tell me when I should go out and who I should go out and what babysitter I should have and so forth, because this is my weekend, or this is whatever date time frame, and this is how we run it in our house. Now,
right,
we as in the people need to have our space as well.
Right.
Yeah. So let me have my space with going with where we're going. I need you to get your child when you're supposed to get your child. I need you to be where you need to be for your child. Now you could come in with Sally and she better be rooting for my child. So I'm not concerned that you have a Sally. I'm concerned that Sally and all of us going to be one big happy family. So don't worry about where I am and who I'm with. Let's worry about the child. So we have to
that was the thing. That was the thing. They would both of my kids' father was always concerned about me and what I was doing, not the kids. And that definitely a don't, because you can't be concerned about what I'm doing. Just make sure when your kids are with me, I'm taking care of them. And I'm concerned about when my kids are with you, you taking care of my kids. I was never concerned about another person, another woman, or any of that. Because
that's the drive
I trust
that
them enough
to
know that.
Go ahead.
I mean, I trust them enough to know that they wasn't going to have my kids around somebody they didn't need to be around.
Right.
And that was never you had the maturity, though. You were a different case. You had the maturity of saying, he's with Linda, and I know Linda going to take care of the kids, right? So you had no issues. But for those who are not ready to be into your shoes, that's hard because they don't look at the situation that it's the kids. They only looking at he's with Linda. And right, but we got the children though. We okay. We done set up everything for them. So it's unfortunately that everybody don't mature as fast as you, Sharilyn, or myself do. But we have to know that those do's and those don'ts is the do's is one big do, the kids. That's the real do. Let's stay focused and on learn to communicate. Kids. That's it. So when you got the do's in front, the do's with being with being communicating with each other. Yeah. And the kid, well, no, we got it backwards. The kids and then the communication, because we got it, because the kids come first. That's why our focus everything should be on the kids. Let's stay focused on where we're going with this right here. It's all about the kids. What do we need to do? Where is his or her next engagement? What are they doing for as homework is concerned? Both of our names are on the school records. So let's drop in and see what our kid is doing, because we made that kid, not just Linda.
But that's a really hard task to follow when you got one person being negative and you got one parent being negative and one parent is not. you know, and it's sometimes it can be very difficult to come together.
Yeah, that can be very challenging.
Right. So
yes, very.
That's again, that's that bitterness. See how that bitterness come back in there? Because he or she is not ready to turn loose the other. That's what, and if we losing the focus on the children.
And sometimes you have to use whatever their motive is for co-parenting, or whatever their motive is for being with the children. Sometimes you just have to use that to your advantage. Now, with my ex-husband, his motive for being such a good co-parent was, as long as he was doing for Gabby, that was his attachment to me. As long as he could, okay, I'm finna bring Gabby home, and he stopped in for a few minutes, and he would make those negative comments. Well, who you talking to? What you doing? Whatever. That's none of your business. Let's just concentrate on Gabby. Right. But that was his connection to me, and I used it to my advantage, so I don't have to sit out in that hot sun for cheerleading practice. You know, you have to do what you have to do when it comes to the kids.
Some parents are not willing to do that. Right. They're not ready to take that compromise and run with it.
Right.
Yeah, they are. And one other thing I wanted to mention as a don't. Keep your friends out of your relationship with your child's father or mother. Keep that at a bypass, because once you start telling your business to your friends and your family, they're gonna start giving you advice. Then you all over the place.
Right.
The advice that they're not even using for themselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're telling you what you should do that they're not even doing.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Don't. But what we have to do, everybody, we got to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more do's and don'ts on co-parenting.
If you live in Houston and surrounding areas and are in need of quality childcare, contact Cuckoo's Treasures today. We provide professional childcare in a caring and nurturing environment. Do you work second or third shift or don't have a typical schedule? Cuckoo's Treasures can assist you. We're open 24 hours and some weekends. Give us a call today at 346-313-9064. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Hey, welcome back. We're here. So where we left off at was the don'ts. Keep your friends and your family out of your business, trying to tell you how to run your house and they can't run theirs. That's a great don't. So
I run a daycare center, and one of my little girls came in the other day, and she was repeating things that she heard her mother say. And I told her, come here, baby, sit here. And I said that, you can't repeat things that your mother say about your dad and things that go on in your household. And she told me, my mama didn't say that. I said, who said it? My grandmother. So sometimes, just like you said, perfect example. My mom didn't say that. My grandmother was talking bad about my daddy to my mama. And so when her mother came to pick her up, I pulled her to the side and said, those conversations you have with your mom and your friends or whatever, you have to do that when your child is not listening. I said, because she came here today and told me all your business. I mean, everything. Yeah. And she said, she did. Yes. I said, you watch what you say in front of your children. And she had an attitude all day. And I was going, baby, what is the matter? You're not your cheerful, happy self. And she says, I don't like when my mommy talk about my daddy. I said, see, so that daddy that you are talking about, that little girl loves to death. And she don't understand all that stuff you're talking about. All she knows is her dad's going to come and get her and going to take her to the park. And the mother was saying to the grandmother, he don't spend no time with them. He just takes her to the park and he's on the phone the whole time that they're at the park. That little girl don't care.
She don't care.
Don't care.
She's with her dad.
She's with her daddy. And if he's sitting over there on the phone, that does not bother her. So you have to be careful. Be real, real careful. Because see, some fathers don't even take the kids to the park.
Regardless.
Regardless. I don't know whether they found out. They don't take the kids to the park. So you just have to be grateful for what you can and don't badmouth. You shouldn't badmouth them, period, but especially not in front of the child.
Right. Well, yesterday, and I'm not saying 24 hours ago, but yesterday it was at the point where we could not talk. If grown people were talking, we couldn't be in the room present. Right. I mean, anyway, so
yeah,
those are some of the things that we got to get back into doing.
Right.
Because, the thing, like you just said, the things that you say about the mother or the dad, that sticks in those kids' head. And I had a situation today when I got a phone call where this young man was saying that his daughter was mad with him. Keep your door open if you want the kids to get them. Okay. So the daughter was mad with him because she didn't feel like he was there enough. And for whatever the mother was saying in the front of them and her really made this little girl feel some kind of way. So I was like, when that little girl was a baby, you had something to say about that. You were trying to be the father or the best father that you could be, because that's all we can ask, that you be the best that you could be. And if all you could do is take your child to the park, then take them to the park. If all you could do is come in with a pack of cookies, come with a pack of cookies. That's all the kids want. They want to see the presence of their parent. They don't care if my dad ain't got no money. I don't care if my mama don't have no money, but my mama, my daddy is here. That's all they want. So again, everything that we talk about, it always comes back to surrounding of those kids. We lose the focus on what we're supposed to be doing, and that is taking care of some little person who did not ask to come into this world.
Right.
We got to learn how to say, listen, I know you're mad at me, but listen, come on, little Johnny. Your dad is waiting for you to go. And that's all they want. That's all they want. We have to get that bitterness. And Miss Sharilyn and I talk about that all the time. Bitterness is so wicked.
And it eats you up inside.
Yeah.
It just eats you.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just eats you up. And unforgiveness too. Just forgive them for whatever they went. But I have to say this, because last week I said that my kid's father, he came and picked up PJ every Saturday and took him to get a haircut and took him to McDonald's. And the older kids would tell him his daddy was sorry. So my ex-husband called me and told me that I made him look, I put him in a negative light. And that was not the case. And he explained to me that the reason why he did not come and get PJ often was because PJ was a sickly child. He said, and I didn't come get it often because I was scared he was going to get sick on me. And I didn't know how to handle it like you handled it. If he got sick on me, I wouldn't have known what to do. I mean, and I would be lost. And if something happened to him while he was in my care, I could never forgive myself. So I said, well, I didn't intend to. That was not my intention to put you in a negative light. I said, I was just, stating the fact that you came and got it. So I just want all y'all to know that my ex-husband was a wonderful father. And he still is. He was a wonderful father. And although our kids are grown and PJ is still sick, he's there front and center.
Well, you know what? I think and listening to this, that it falls back in that communication line.
Right.
Because if he would have communicated to you that, Sharilyn, I can't do what you're doing.
Right.
And if something was to happen that PJ gets sick, how am I going to handle this? Yeah. And then that would have been a whole different.
This conversation is he's having, how old is PJ? 38? 40? This conversation we should have had 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
He should have brought that to my attention 30 years ago, that was the only reason why he would come and pick it. That's the only reason.
That goes back to being upfront and being honest with each other and saying how you feel about the situation. Right. Because, back then I was hot mouth. You couldn't tell me nothing. I'm still kind of hot mouth.
I was going to say
you couldn't tell me nothing. Okay. Yeah. And I was dealing with two daddies. I mean, all the time.
Two daddies with two different personalities at that. Because they definitely had two different personalities. I had them two babies, trying to take care of them, trying to communicate, trying to make sure that, it was one of me and two of them. So it was very difficult. And being the person that I am, I didn't want to ask for help. I would, do without. I made sure my kids had, but I would do without because I didn't want to have to deal with the daddy.
Mm.
So
Wow.
again, that goes back to communicating, asking for help, being upfront.
Right. That's communication and focus on the kids. Those are the two main components in this whole thing right here. Let me ask a question to you, Regina.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you want to ask for help? And I know we're gonna say we just didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to be putting up with whatever. But why
Well,
wouldn't?
Linda, mostly it was because of pride. The
Okay.
pride that I
Okay. Right.
had
Okay.
nothing to do with those individuals per se. It's just
Okay.
because I had a lot of pride and I just wanted to do things on my own,
Okay.
knowingly that it was hard. And I,
Mm-hmm.
eventually asked for help, but it was just hard. My pride just wouldn't let me ask. Being 61, almost 62 years old now, I'm always asking. And people
Mm.
get tired of me asking now. But, back then, that's just who I was. I couldn't
So,
change that.
so Regina, let me ask you this question. It's like 61, almost 62 now. If you look back on the experiences you had, would you have done anything differently?
I would probably have done a lot of things different. In a sense to where my kids were concerned. Yeah, I would have did a lot of things different. Not that, if my kids was hungry, of course I'm going to ask for something. I asked for food to feed them. They didn't go without.
Right.
But me, myself, and, a lot of parents do this. They go without so that their kids can have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true.
Absolutely.
So I probably would do a few things different. Yeah, I probably would.
And Ramona thinks Ramona says she did do some different things, and like she was saying, she would talk to her kids' dad over and over, but now the kids are bitter.
And it can cause the kids to be bitter. And especially that goes back to the parent bad mouthing the other parent. Because when, if my daughter was at her father's house, he would bad mouth me.
Wow.
And say, different things about me and instilled it into my baby's head, and that's what she thought of me.
Okay, so listen, Mr. Bryant just stated that there are deals that there's places for fathers as well, and co-parenting as a dad is quite hard than the mother, and there's many expectations that a dad can't meet. So, what the expectation? What's the expectation that a dad can't meet? Let us in on that, Mr. Bryant. But while we waiting on him to respond, I don't know if it's the expectation. I did okay. Ramona thinks she said she didn't talk bad about her kid's father. Great. So that's we're getting things that is so true that everybody's on the same page right now, which is not talking bad in the presence of the kids. Because we know we talk bad about each other, but not in the presence of the kids.
Right.
And that's the whole key right there.
The key.
It's not talking about I'm still waiting on Mr. Bryan to tell me what's the expectation.
Don't put those, because when you put those negative nuggets in a baby's head,
right,
they don't go away.
They don't.
They don't.
No, they don't.
They don't.
And they become bitter. They become bitter because of what they've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So when you see your father, now you think about what mama said. He ain't no good. Mm-hmm. He ain't gonna do this. And nowadays, you don't just bop him in the mouth like I got bopped how many times? Bam! But
I got like that on a daily basis.
Me too. So yeah, they don't get bopped in the mouth anymore. They just my mama say you ain't no good, or my daddy say you ain't no good, and you this and that. If you shake your head one more time, telling me something that your father said, I don't know what what color you want to be buried in. See, that's me. What color you want to be buried in? Because I want to honor that wish because you about to die. So shake your head again. But we don't have those anymore. Our talking to the kids, our talking in the front of the kids, all those things are out the door. You can't. I have models that are grown, over 18 and higher. But when I'm talking to you, Regina, or I'm talking to Sharilyn, and one of them come up, I give them that look. Don't you see me talking? And they go back to where they're going because they already say Miss Linda crazy. Okay, Ma. Okay, but we don't do that as a parent to our little kids anymore. We allow them, and we think that is cute.
Mm-hmm.
Cute. Did you hear what she just said? So now when she cuss you out in the public, don't you say nothing and don't you touch her because she got it from where? Right. So we have to learn each other temperament for one, and knowing that if let Johnny say something crazy to Linda, I'm the mama, I'm gonna do what? Punch him in the ear. And that's my favorite go-to spot is to punch him in the ear.
I have a rule at the daycare that when somebody comes to that door, you don't come out the playroom or you don't come out the classroom because you don't pay any bills here.
Right.
So when parents come or somebody knock at the door, they know that they can't come out that room because it's adults talking. And then a parent would tell a little girl, say, "But come on, Melissa, come. I can't come out this room because Miss Cuckoo haven't called me yet."
You gotta have boundaries, right? Kids gotta have boundaries too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I tell her, Mama says, "You don't do that at home." So, no, she don't pay me any attention. Girl.
Yeah.
So but they have rules, and you have to have boundaries. And when I'm talking to my parents, I'm having an adult conversation with your mom, and you don't need to be included in that.
Right. At all.
You don't
period.
need to be included in that.
Nada. So yeah, I ain't gonna say we lost it because of we are all peers right now, so we know where we came from. We know if Mama was talking, we wouldn't dare be seen. Now we had our ear to the door a couple of times, but we knew that all of us in here talking that we would not be in that room listening, and the kids are right on your lap, and you talking and cussing and making some exchange, and and that's all they have in their head, and which 9 times out of 10, young ladies look for men like their father.
Right.
And if we've already talked down and crazy, so what they do, they go get a man that's down and crazy, just crazy. That makes them think, oh, okay, he like my daddy. Okay. So
I would love to have a father like Lester B. Woodfork. I don't know about you, Jim.
So would I.
I would love to have a father like Lester B. Woodfork. But but one of the things that being said about expectations is when the kids live with the mother, and the mother do things that's a certain way, when they go to their fathers, that's their expectation. And then fathers probably can't live up to that because women are made a certain kind of way. And when the kids stay with their father and the father does things a certain way, when kids come to the mother, they are expecting that same treatment, but they can't because we're not made up like a man, and we don't think alike either. So, so that makes those expectations really, really hard because I am very, very proud of the expectations I gave my kids. Very proud. You're gonna go to school, and it was never ever if you go to college. It was always when you go to college. And I expected great grades, big good grades. You're not C, you're not average, so you can't bring any C's in my house because you're not an average child. And those were the expectations that I had. But the dad's expectation was you go to school every day, regardless of what grades you make, as long as you darted that door every day.
Okay, I want that, Daddy. That one.
So you do have, we did have different expectations, which made the co-parenting really, really hard. Really, really hard. Because when my son was 16, he didn't want to abide by my rules, and he told me he was grown. Okay, get out of my house. He went and he lived with his dad, and although his dad's expectations were really, really lax, he came back. because kids want that structure.
They do.
They really want it. And he stayed around with his dad about 2 weeks, and his dad was driving a truck, was never at home. This boy had keys to a car and the keys to his apartment. And he came back because there was no structure.
Right.
So those expectations that I had put in him ever since he'd been in the world, he wanted that. He needed that. He needed that. You know.
Well, I'm glad he decided to come back because my son didn't. My son, his expectations, me and his dad expectations were two different things.
Right.
I wanted him, I could care less if he be a football player or a baseball player. He was an athlete. So that wasn't the expectations for me. My expectations was to be able to live in this world.
Right.
And go to school, get a good education, and take care of yourself.
Right.
If football or basketball was part of that, then okay. But I wanted to see you be a young man.
Smart.
And live, and live life. And it didn't happen like that. It was just the opposite of what I wanted. But that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, that's true. I think my expectation for my sons, where I think they are smart. I have some very intelligent young men. My expectations for them was very high as well. I know both of them just I thought would be lawyers or all that kind of stuff. And that Tim said if it ain't doing nothing with his hand, he was offered an $80,000 job right out of high school, and he said no. I said, boy, what are you doing? But that wasn't what he wanted. So my expectations for him, I'm like you, Regina, it just went right down the drain.
But it's hard to co-parent when the parents' expectations for the child are different. We talk about co-parenting like when he's at his house, he take care of, and you're at the house, y'all make decisions together, and that's a good thing. But it's really, really hard when the expectations for the child are different. It's really hard to co-parent.
Absolutely.
Because the kids are being pulled. The mother's pulling them this way, the dad is pulling this way, and the kids just stuck in the middle, like don't know what to do. Don't know what to do.
Well, on that expectation, let me just tell you one thing. We got to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more expectations from the mother and the father. We'll see you in
Be right back
in 2 seconds. Right.
If you're looking for custom handcrafted fashion jewelry that makes a statement, look no further than Linda S. Jewelry, 1426. We specialize in quality pieces fit for any occasion. Follow us on Facebook at Linda S. Jewelry 1426 to view our inventory or to make a purchase. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Welcome back. Yes, we were the expectations because we had a caller in, Mr. Bryant called in and was saying, the difference in the expectations are different from the father and the mother. Well, we understand, and we're the mother part of it. So we
but speaking on expectations, the children have different expectations. They have expectations for their mother, and then they have expectations for their father. Yeah. And if you let them, they will play it right. Oh my God, they will play it. They will pull and they will play it. So you have to be real, real careful because my kids knew I didn't play. I just did not play, and they knew that. But then they knew they could go and run circles around their dad. I'm like, you did that? You let them do that?
Right.
And so you just have to be real, real careful because they'll make their own expectations.
They really make. But see, I'm
they
like,
really will.
My children was in second and third or something like that, first and third grade or something like that. And they was going to run away from home, right? No, we're going to wait till we get grown. Y'all going to leave right now. Let me open the door and let you out.
Take your bags.
Yeah.
Well, hold on just a minute, Linda. Mr. Bryant, do you think you'll be able to come on our show next week? And then you could really, that would be a great guest and a great topic. You would be a great guest and you would definitely be a great topic. He wants to talk about the expectations of a father when they're co-parenting. And he seems to think that they'll have impossible expectations that the father can't fulfill. So if Mr. Bryant will be willing, he come on next week and we can talk about that.
Sounds like a winner to me.
Sounds like a plan, Mr. Bryant.
Say, are you available? Say yes or no, and we really appreciate it. Let's make it happen.
Are you available?
So, but this expectation thing is crazy. So we have the kids, we have the communication and expectations. So apparently, as the gentleman just stated, that the expectations for the men and the women, which we know are totally different because we are two different people, period. So, but I would like to have, I would love to have him on so he could tell us exactly.
I would like to know what his expectation is for a man.
Right.
And for a woman. I mean, that's a good question.
Yes, we would love to have him to come on and talk about this.
But you know, to be honest, when my kids when it was their dad's weekend, I didn't have an expectation. My expectation was you did not bring them home until if you had them for 6 o'clock on Friday night to 6 o'clock on Sunday, you be at my door at 5:59 on Sunday. Don't bring them home no earlier because I have things to do. That was my expectation. Right. I had put that time out for Cheryl. You're going to have this time with no kids where you can have some adult time and not be with those kids. And my ex-husband always coming up with some kind of excuse why he had to bring them home early. Well, you can do that if you want to, but I won't be there. And if I am there, I'm not opening that door to 5:59. So, because that's your time with your children. Use it wisely.
Right.
You know,
one explanation that is hard for is to take care of your child and the woman while she's in another relationship with another man. But listen, you're gonna have to come on to this. You're gonna have to come on, Mr. Brian. You're gonna have to come on.
One explanation that is hard is you have to take care of your child and the woman while she's in another relationship with another man. That doesn't have anything to do with
it. It has nothing to do with you.
Taking care of your child.
Right. That's what we just got to talking about. That's the bitterness. Why are you taking care of a woman? Well, so you say
my expectation as a man is to let me be a father to my child. Okay, well, you can be a father to your child, but what the
woman do? What you taking care of woman with another man?
What that has nothing to do with you being a father to your child,
right?
But I agree with you, Mr. Bryant. You need to come on and explain this yourself, and I'm quite sure we'll get a better explanation because I'm about ready to slap you upside the head right now.
I don't get it because apparently you just came on and you didn't hear us saying in the beginning that's the bitterness.
Right.
That's the bitterness. We gotta let it go. We have to focus only on the kid and the kid only and the communication with the mother so that the two of you could be on the same page and bring that child up the way that he or she should be raised. The girl wants to be with her father.
Oh, yes.
And the son wants to be with his dad as well. The children want to be with their parents. So having a good time with dad, because mommy, this is what me and daddy did on a positive note. Mm-hmm. Daddy took me to the beach and I was swimming and I didn't even think I could swim. So if mama took you to the beach, you just drown. Yeah, that just it.
One of caller said she wish she had free time. Yeah, but you have to get it where you can.
Yeah, but you have to make it happen. You have to make it happen. We have to open up that communication door.
That's where it starts.
Yes, communication. Listen, I have something that I am scheduled to do that is very important in our lives because our is him and the children and myself. Because if you are there to help me with the kids and I make this decision that I'm making, we all benefit from it.
We all benefit.
So it has to have that communication. We can't get around nothing without communicating with each other.
Absolutely.
I need your help today.
And your input.
Right. And if you don't want to give me your help, but I asked you for it, then I need to go somewhere else. Now don't question
where I'm
going and why I went there because I came to you first.
Right.
So
absolutely.
It's still, whatever it still is that communication key. It still falls with communicating. We cannot get around it no kind of way that we want to get around it. It's something that we just have to do. And Regina, I was one of those. I just give me my children. You can see them. I'm not gonna stop you from seeing, but I'm not going out of my way, Mr. Bryant. Men forget the bitterness. It's not bitterness, it's the facts.
Mr.
Mr. Brian has a serious problem.
He do.
Mr. Brian.
He has a problem, and he's bitter about something. It's obvious.
Right.
With his
So
he's bitter about something.
He needs to come on next week and
explain himself. Mr. Brian said it's not the bitterness. What was it? Put it back up there again.
Put it back up there again.
The men forget the bitterness. It's not the bitterness, it's the facts.
Well, what's the facts?
What's the facts? Tell us some of the facts. And we ain't got all night, but tell us some of the facts, because you need to come on and defend yourself, because right now we say you are bitter. And what you just said
proves that you're bitter. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're bitter. So why are you taking care of your children? Let me ask you that, sir. Are you taking care of your children? And if you're not taking care of your children, where does bitterness come in? How does bitter come into your circle? Answer that question for us, please. But until he answers, y'all, bitterness is crazy. It's a beast. It's a beast. And why are we bitter? Why is that man bitter? Let me just ask that question. Why is the man so bitter? Women, we are so we bitter because it's that emotional stuff that we put in. We allow the emotion to take over. What you think? Come on.
I don't think that's why we're bitter.
Why we bitter?
I think we're bitter because of things that the man does and how he carries himself. Because and it's not every woman that's bitter.
Right. We're not saying all.
It's not
because there is what?
I won't say I'm bitter, but I don't like neither one of them right now. I'm not bitter. I'm glad that I don't have to deal with them on an everyday basis like I did when I had my kids.
Because I was going to say, baby, the children are grown.
Right. But but that still sometimes comes in. This is an example of why co-parenting is a challenge. Men and women communicate differently. I think Mr. Brian has some of the same complaints women have. Of course. Thank you, Ms. Danae. Of course. That is why co-parenting is a challenge.
Men and women do communicate different.
Yes. I do have a serious problem. I have a problem with women who only think that the only one that could do that don't have problems. All men have problems. Why you shot out? Why you shoot us down? Why? Well, we don't. Why we try? You shoot us. Oh, okay. So they trying. So Mr. Brian saying that he do have a serious problem. And the problem is that women only think that the only one could. Sir,
he thinks that they're the one that don't have a problem. All men have problems. He's saying that men have problems just like women do.
Right, basically.
And that's true. Basically.
Well, we all do. We all do. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because we are men and we are women, and we do say that men think different and women think different. Men think different, but we need Mr. Brian to tell us why men think different, because we can only speak as a woman and why we're thinking different. I think that would be that would take care of some of this going back and forth. We got to bring him. I wish we could put him on live, but it's time.
One of the things that I think that women think differently, because that's how we were brought up when it comes to our children. Mm-hmm. I was brought up saying mama's baby, daddy's maybe. And I knew all my children. True. Who all my children father was, who I can blame them on anyway. But so women think that the children are their responsibility. Now, the parent provides the meat, and whatever the man does is the gravy, because that's how they're brought up to think. And back in our age, in our time, that the children were your responsibility.
Okay, so hold on. Lisa just said sometimes fathers have unrealistic expectations because they're sending you a little change. And they think we're supposed to move mountains with the little money that they send.
Sometimes it's really not about the money. I don't think.
It's not
sometimes it's not about the money.
Yeah,
it's about how you can interact with each other.
Right.
And how you interact with each other around the children.
Right.
Because when I was,
I was giving out child support and receiving it. Well, why you do that?
My problem is with my kids' father said, I know Mona not going to let the kids go without. Mona just said that she know her kid's father will always say that he know Mona not gonna let the kids go without, so he had no worries.
So he didn't have to do
right. So his expectation went out the window. Oh, Ramona got it. So, and she probably did, and he could be a better life if he had help. Right. So he knew right off the bat that Ramona was going to take care of those kids, and nothing was going to happen.
So he said, "So why should I help?"
Right.
Mona got it.
Right. So now she's saying that the kids could have had a better life,
right,
if he would have been in those kids' life. That men, right, and it goes back to what you said earlier, that that's what women do. We take care of ours,
and sometimes
we're supposed to anyway, but we try hard.
It's not about the money, because most men are right. Women just have a natural instinct to take care of their kids, and that's what they're going to do. But one thing they cannot provide is the things that a father can provide that has nothing to do with finances. Has nothing to do with money.
Right.
You know, sometimes they just need to be with their dad.
Yeah.
And he don't have to give them a dime or do anything or anything. I used to tell my ex-husband, come get me.
It's just time. It's just time.
That's it. Just time.
And they want time.
And that's all they want. That's all the kid want. But then the mama want, and the daddy wants that finance. Well, if he was doing this here, then we could probably go to the park. Then I need you to get another job or another something to make all that happen, because he's doing the best that he can do, and then she's doing the best that she can do. Stop comparing what each other is doing with that child when they have that child. Don't worry if the child don't run back and say, "Oh, mommy, me and daddy went to the movies and this was a great movie. We have to go see the movie together." That child would say that. Mm-hmm. But when you go in, what y'all do, where he took you, that sends a whole nother message. That child is like, somebody crazy in this bunch right here. I don't know who it is. So, but we just have to learn to get that, and we do. You absolutely right, Ms. Ju. We do what we have to do. We do what we have to do. So we could all use some emotion support. Yeah. So we all need that.
All need some emotion, and the children need emotional support too.
All the time. Time is more important than any amount of money in the world.
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
She said time is more important than any amount of money in the world. And if you could spend time with your children, some children are not like Miss Linda. I want to go somewhere. Come on, Daddy. But I think now, because I know y'all gonna say the same thing, but I think I had the best daddy in the world. Even though I would say, Daddy, I want to get up at 4:00 in the morning and just ride me on the beach until I sweat. And when that man got up and took me to the beach, my mama said, "Are you crazy?" But he did it.
He did it.
And that's all I wanted from him, was to just drive me on the beach. Or, "Daddy, can I go to work with you?" Before they even had the bring your children to the work day and all that kind of stuff. My daddy said he's getting up at 5:00, going to lay jet coat on those. I wanted to go too. And I just wanted the time. And then when I realized, oh, you get paid for this. So time is everything.
It's everything.
Time is everything. We can't do anything else without time. Time is, you can stay up in heaven and then, okay, I'm going to go to heaven and be with my daddy today. Or you can stay down here. As an educator, you tell the effect of a missing parent on a child's life.
Yes, you can.
She's a school teacher, and she says she can tell when the kids are not in the house with two parents. So, God, you guys, oh my God. So what are we doing? This is really good. You really could tell all of those things. Because I had both parents. I had both parents growing up. So we all had that, and we understand what it is. And apparently this school teacher had it as well, because you see that effect, that those kids come in and now this daddy don't do this, or this mama don't do this, mama not over here. And that's why I tried to stay in my children's life. And now I think I'm crazy because I never wanted the daddy. Let me just say that. I never wanted the daddy. I just wanted the children. So I was okay.
I didn't either, Linda.
Okay, say thank you. So I ain't the only one. They gonna say
no. I never wanted neither one of them daddies.
But 5 minutes. But 5 minutes. It took 5 minutes, and then 9 months later, here we go. But no, it's very important that we share our time. I'm sorry, my post is so jagged, and I'm trying to talk into the mic and got my feelings, but getting my feelings. Miss Parker said right, but I was always being good father by standards and my sister's standard. Huh?
Mr. Bryant.
Don't you type nothing else.
We really need you to come on next week.
Yeah.
And explain all this to us.
And we appreciate it. We appreciate everything that you're saying, because that's just opening the door to more things that we didn't know about. So we do really, really appreciate it, sir. So we're going to look forward to seeing you and talk to you about it. People don't think because I work in children ministry, kids talk. Yes, that's what Ramona just said. People don't think because she works in the children ministry and kids talk a lot. And that's what Sharilyn just said as well about the daycare.
Right.
They come back and say everything that grown people say.
Every Monday we have story time. We sit in a circle and we sing a little songs and we say a little prayer. And then we have story time. You can tell Cuckoo anything you want to tell me. And sometimes I say, nope.
can't do it.
Let's not go there.
Wow.
And I have been teaching them the difference between things that they can tell and things that they need to keep in their house.
Well, they need to learn that at home too.
Well, but their parents aren't teaching them, so I have to teach them.
Absolutely.
So I have to teach them because I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's going on.
Right, and then that's apparently what the school teacher is saying, and then what Ramona just said. These kids are getting there and they're talking. And they're talking, and then you look at the parent and go, so you ain't got no dad in your house, huh? Mm-hmm. So you don't have a man there. So these kids are talking and telling those things. So it kind of go back to when we were growing up, what happens in our house, stay in our house kind of situations. But nowadays we can't really do that because we need to know exactly what's going on with our kids. It ain't like it was yesterday.
Because I just told one of my parents, the father, that you cannot tell LJ not to tell his mama what goes on in your house. You really cannot, because the simple reason, you don't want something to be happening in LJ's mom's house and he needs to tell you he's in trouble and it's something he needs to tell you, but he can't because he can't talk about his mama's house. You and the mom have to come to an arrangement about what a child can talk about and what they can't talk about, because you just can't say don't talk about what's going on in the house, because you have a girlfriend and his mom might have a boyfriend. And if that kid is feeling uncomfortable, no matter which house he's in, he needs to talk about it. He needs to be not be afraid to talk about it.
It's like what Miss Parker just saying, the kids need an outlet. But listen, guys, this was a very, very good topic. And it's so good that we're going to have to change what we were talking about next week so that we can have a part 2 of co-parenting, and we'll hear it from the men's version. So, Regina, we probably asked you to come back too, so all of us could be on and say we can know where we're going.
So you can talk to this man, Mr. Bryant,
and we do that.
And that would be really, really great. So you'll have your perspective as a woman and his perspective as a man, and what we going to do?
We're going to be the referee.
We're going to be the referee.
All right, so that sounds good. So listen.
I'm glad we're going to be on this podcast. So I won't have to read.
It has come to to the closing of the night, and you know how we do it. But first of all, we need to say thank you so much,
Regina.
and we're praying for our families in Florida and all going up
yes.
that East Coast. That
all up that East Coast.
Yeah, we're gonna keep everybody in our prayers. But we'll pray, and then we have to say good night until the next time. So now it's time to say goodbye to all our family. MIC, see you next week. Oh, KEY, why? Because we love you. That's it.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Same
Have
time,
a good evening.
7 p.m.
Okay.
Bye, Gina.
Bye-bye.